Now, Sukihana is kind of a weirdo too. Something we gotta talk about. So I'm sure you might have been following this recent story that's going viral, which involves Yk Osiris and another female rapper by the name of Sukihana. I dropped a video on it yesterday which got demonetized and age restricted, but here we are talking about it once again today. Look at your boy being dedicated. There are a couple developments I want to talk about, and I'm also going to be coming in with some fresh perspective after finding out a couple things. Just a quick little breakdown of this story, which is currently still going viral. So this clip of Yk Osiris went viral where he was seen forcing himself on rapper Sukihana. He did so by trying to force a kiss on Sukihana. He sexually assaulted her. She was resisting and really not trying to have it. Yk Osiris, however, looked entertained by the whole situation. I still find it very strange how he had that smirk on his face. He just looked like he didn't really give a damn about what he had just done. As a matter of fact, at one point we saw him laughing while he was walking over to one of his homies like he just cured cancer, but in reality we saw what you did, bruh, and curing cancer is far from what you did. You sexually assaulted another woman on camera, laughed about it, had a bunch of dudes, a lot of them grown men, justifying this behavior. I really hope none of y'all got sons, because if their father thinks like this, imagine what kind of terror that little man gonna cause on a playground. So that was sad to see, but then again, everything comes down to mindset. If your mindset is Yk Osiris did nothing wrong in that clip, that tells me that you are no different from him given the right situation. In this video though, we're going to talk a little bit about Sukihana herself, because there's a couple things that have now been brought to my attention that I want to discuss. Before we do that, obviously like the video and subscribe, okay? Just can you do that for me? Thank you, I appreciate you. But let's go over Yk Osiris' apology. Yes, you heard it right. He ended up apologizing yesterday by putting up this post right here. I want to publicly offer my sincerest apology to Sukihana. In an attempt to be playful, I misread the moment and violated Sukihana's boundaries. I understand the importance of my consent. I don't know if you do, and I'm embarrassed by my behavior. I take full responsibility and have made multiple attempts to apologize. I have the utmost admiration for Sukihana, and it was never my intention to disrespect her. So there's the apology. I don't think it changes anything about what happened. Yk Osiris exhibited the behavior of a guy who doesn't take no for an answer, and that's probably the biggest fear most women have. What if I ever find myself in a situation where I'm in a confined space with a man who won't take no for an answer? How would I ever get out of that? Because there are women who sometimes don't. Most of course do, but even then it ain't so much about just making it out physically. It's about what kind of trauma being put in a situation like that can cause to you mentally. Something I as a man can't fully really understand and grasp, because as guys we just don't have that fear built into us. So when I say that this is a lot of women's biggest nightmare, this is true. If you don't believe me, just have a conversation with the women you love and the women who love you. So when I say that this apology doesn't change anything, I mean it. Once you exhibit this type of behavior, you'll never be looked at the same, and you shouldn't be, because you showed us who you are. Like Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. I'm gonna believe Yk Osiris this first time, and I will not be fooled by the contrition he expressed. Just like how a sloppy thief will get caught trying to play with you and your family, you wouldn't believe said thief no matter the amount of remorse expressed, right? Would you? I'm sure you wouldn't. I wouldn't, because if there's one thing that's abundantly clear to me in my life at least, there's certain things you don't give people any wiggle room to wiggle themselves out of. Personally, I'm not gonna give Yk Osiris the benefit of the doubt, because I seen how you move, bro. I seen it, right? Not only that, Yk Osiris is known for being a clout chaser. He's known for being the guy who'll do anything that requires set attention, so his track record is consistently out of balance on a moral level. With that being the case, let's take a moment to divert the attention from Yk Osiris to Sukihana. Because here's the thing, Sukihana is not better than Yk Osiris. She's actually as bad. I'll tell you why in a second. But before I do, I gotta make this abundantly clear. What happened to this woman, regardless of what she did after the fact, is not acceptable, period. And I want to start off by saying that because usually on these kinds of videos where you're holding a woman accountable for her actions, there's a lot of guys who flood these types of videos because they have a strong hatred for women. I want to let you know and make it very clear that I am not one of y'all. And just right there, about 1,000 niggas who thought we were the same clicked off the video, and that's the point. I'm trying to keep a certain demographic of people away from my channel. I don't want a bunch of dudes on here who are looking for someone with a platform who'll scold a woman because they don't fuck with women like that. There's so many channels like that. You know, I'm not like that, and I can't really relate to that. So back to what I was saying. Now that we got that out of the way, Sukihana is weird too, man. And I say that for this reason. It was brought to my attention that Suki, with the good coochie, twerked on a 10-year-old boy for a music video. I'm gonna put the picture on the screen right now, which will make this video not so family friendly, which also means YouTube is gonna suppress this video. So do me a favor, like this video, subscribe, and drop a comment, okay? Anyway, here it is, and as you can see, she's bent over with her ass on a little kid's crotch. Looks like it was from a music video, and yeah, she's not all that herself, okay? Don't let what happened to her not make you see what's in front of you. What you're seeing right now in front of you is a depiction of a grown woman putting her pussy on a little kid's crotch. Just based off of that fact, this would make it sexual abuse against a minor, because a child is obviously not capable of giving consent. This is not something I magically conjured up. This is something that actually happened, and Suki profited off of this, so she made money on the behalf of subjecting a little kid to this. The next part of the video is a rant, and I want to say this: two wrongs don't make a right, meaning because of what she did, that does not make what Yk Osiris did to her right at all. I think people are so focused on the get back and the revenge, y'all completely lost sight of the big picture. This is really not about these two individuals. They just happen to be in the center of this because of their despicable actions. This is really about calling out the predatory, marauding, and bad behavior that we see in other people, so we can then create a safer society so kids are walking safely in these streets and they don't have to worry about adults preying on them. We as a collective, men and women, have to come together, point out the BS, and make sure that dangerous behavior is decried for the greater good of the next generation. People really think these stories that are going viral are a joke. No, this is actually reaching a lot of your children because they got smartphones now. It's reaching our little brothers, our little sisters, our little cousins, and they see these things going down. They also see how grown adults are responding to said situations, and that right there sets the precedent for what they will deem as good or bad going forward in their lives. So we're talking about a generational thing right here. That's why I take this shit so seriously. On one side, we got a bunch of grown men justifying sexually assaulting a woman because of how she presents herself. On the other side, and I got some smoke for the women too, we got women letting other women slide with inappropriate and predatory behavior because she's a woman, because you guys are so hell-bent on seeing other women win even when it's at the expense of a little boy. Personally, I think when it comes to the hip-hop culture, man, we're just so far gone. The lack of morals in the culture is reflected in the real world, and then when you point it out, it's suddenly a problem. Ain't it funny how when you address the actual problem, that's the problem, and then people wonder why we're so far gone? Everybody wants to look at this other stuff on the outside while completely ignoring the source of the issue. First of all, we got to bring back shaming. Bring back shaming 2023. How about that? How about when we see behavior that's damaging to our society and our youth, we look at it with contempt and shame it, and we make sure that everybody who's watching knows exactly that's wrong. For that to happen, we got to get out of our ego and not make this a man versus woman thing. We approach it from a place of wanting better for the next generation. We got to look out for the impressionable minds who are susceptible to the deception of the so-called leaders, who are merely here to make their bag, even if it means leading the youth down a path of destruction. See, now we're at a point where we can't really afford to tiptoe around certain things. We got to address it head on, and we got to make sure we stand on it 1000%. Because if we don't, the lack of morals, principles, and ethics that's so conspicuous in the culture is going to keep on growing, and before you know it, we're way off the deep end. I mean, we're already off the deep end now, but I'm saying we're going to be way off the deep end. All in all, Sukihana is a weirdo too. I mean, we saw what she did to that little boy. With that being the case, she did not deserve what was done to her, and any grown man who uses that as an excuse to justify what was done to her, I hope you keep the same energy if, God forbid, the same thing happens to any of the women in your family. Some guys might say, the women in my family don't carry themselves like Sukihana. This happened because of how she presents herself, and that's the energy she attracted. Let me dismantle that for a second. If you think a woman needs to be promiscuous for her to be subjected to sexual assault, you are completely in the dark of how this world works. Anything can happen at any point. A woman can at any time, at any place, be the victim of this, because there are predators in this world who, no matter what she's presenting, can decide to force themselves on her because he's stronger and has a wicked mind. So if you think the women you love are automatically safe because they don't put their sexuality at the forefront, you are insane. Just like you don't need to be a gangbanger to catch a bullet to the face, you don't need to present yourself in an overly promiscuous way as a woman to be the victim of sexual assault. I want to take a look at this tweet from Meek Mill, who had a horrible stance on this thing. Meek, as a response to this story, said the following: "Don't do this to him, please. He a good kid." He's talking about Yk Osiris, who, mind you, is a 24-year-old man, not a kid. Just slap him and he gotta let you something. We don't need our young bulls tore down for mistakes. Mistakes, that's funny. In this hypersexual era, I support Suki. Hold that shit down on some street shit. This gotta be one of the worst tweets all year, and I've seen a lot of those tweets. The backwardness of calling a 24-year-old man a kid who, wait for it, made a mistake in this hypersexual era? That not only completely strips away the accountability from Yk Osiris, but that also implies that what he did is somewhat okay because of the culture we live in. What does us living in a hypersexual era have anything to do with another grown man strong-arming a woman in the way he did? Also, what the hell does the streets have to do with anything? Meek Mill is a 36-year-old man talking like this. Do you see how far gone we are? I think all this is absolutely insane, and I'm sure you can tell from the way I'm sounding right now, so I don't have much to add. I guess case in point. Anyway, I'm really over this shit, man. Sukihana is a weirdo, so is Yk Osiris and anyone who defends their actions. Any thoughts on the story overall, what Sukihana did and what I said? Do you agree with me or do you not agree with me? Curious to hear what you have to say. With that being said, you have a blessed evening or morning, and I'm out. Deuces.
These days I see every battle as a blessing. Gotta go harder on my lures, I can't be resting. I gotta push through these walls, I'ma break down till my time is up. I wanna be great now.